Zipp, and I host the most epic adventures.
Yeah. So obviously Rob is co-hosting today. Mark is out sick still. Mark, we hope you get better soon. Looking forward to getting you back next week. But yeah, this is I kind of teased it out on Twitter a little bit and a couple other places. This is the this is the most epic Generation Orange show ever. That's the way we're going to call it. The most epic Generation Orange show ever. But yeah, here we are. Guys, as always, thanks for joining. We appreciate it. If you guys have thoughts throughout the show, as always, pop them into chat. Happy to chat with you guys. And love when you guys provide us questions and things we can chat about. Because I frankly have no show notes this week. So it's going to be a fly by the seat of our pants, which, hey, that happens week to week.
That's sometimes. How I always roll, man. I always roll. Like if you guys have never seen my weekly interview show, it's whenever I'm that sick or out of town or have bands flake out on me, I host a metal interview show every Monday night. I will have a band this Monday. Sorry to get the plug in early. Sorry, Sean.
You're good.
But for an example, I don't ever write down anything. I just let it fly. So that's my style. So I feel right at home with whatever goes here tonight. I'm down for it.
So I'm going to totally take us off track immediately because that's how I roll. I got this, I actually picked this up off the Dynamo Rewards or Orange Rewards store, I don't know, before the season even kicked off, in the off season, like early preseason. And I just picked this up like last week. And this tumbler is seriously a very impressively put together tumbler. And, for keeping me hydrated with my water on my desk. It is amazing. And no, we're not sponsored by the front office, by the Dynamo, by the Dash, by Ted Siegel, by Pat Onstad, by John Walker, by Deanna Woodard. We're not sponsored by anybody from the Dynamo or at all. So if you want to sponsor us also, it would be great. Yeah.
Hire Robb Zipp.
Yeah.
The boy needs a job.
Yeah, while you sponsor us, go ahead and hire Robb Zipp to do your video production for you for any commercials that you have coming up. I'm sure he'd love that. But yeah, seriously, these are really well made, and it gets warm in my room in the computer room that I'm in, or my office, if you will, during the day when I'm working, because I have the sun that beats down right here, and I had had this filled with cold water to start my morning. And I still had a little bit left, and when I drank out of it earlier, like way earlier, like 3 o'clock, it was still cold, and it was like the hottest part of the day, and it caught me off guard because I was expecting it to be warm or at least lukewarm, and no, it's still cold. And so, yeah, it's impressive, and highly recommend one of those if you can find them on Orange Rewards. It was like, I don't know, 7,500 points or 10,000 points.
It's totally sold out now, man.
See, that's because I'm on the air talking about it. Everybody was like, I gotta hop on that right now. No, I think it's been sold out for a few weeks, if not a couple months now.
It's been gone. And honestly, like I didn't realize it was that good a quality tumbler. I was thinking it was like a soft plastic.
That's exactly what I was expecting.
So I didn't go for it, but now I feel like I missed out.
This almost genuinely feels like a tumbler that you would pick up at Starbucks for Christmas. Like, it's got that same thickness to the actual shell.
Lift it up a little bit more so we can see it.
And it's got the logos, by the way.
Is it got a brand? Is there a brand on there?
There's no brand unless there's not even one on the bottom.
Interesting.
But you can see how thick the wall actually is. And it is well insulated. So, and it's got a nice lid. The only thing I don't...
like when you slammed it down, your whole table shook.
Yeah, the camera where I need to work on the camera mount. But interestingly, there's like a hole at the top of this thing, a tiny little hole for air to escape. And my problem with that, I guess, is if it's like a hot beverage, you want the steam to escape. But you can't cover that up. So there is still some exposed air. So you have to be careful because you can't just tip it upside down and it not leak because there's a hole there. Which, by the way, I found out after the fact. So note to self, don't flip it upside down. What is up, Compilation Crew? Who is this? I don't know who this new person is.
Oh, Compilation Crew. That's my buddy, Jaden.
What's up, Jaden?
What's up, Jaden?
Appreciate you joining
to
chat.
The show.
Yeah, so enough about swag that the Dynamo apparently give away if you're a season ticket holder and have access to Orange Rewards. But yeah, so... also, what's up, Robin? And Pat and C and George and Mella and Knight, and I don't see anybody else in chat right now, but lots of people in chat, which is amazing.
It's Murad there. Knight is Murad.
But let's go ahead.
yeah. No, compilation crew. That's Jared. He's a Minnesota United supporter. We're not going to fault him. He lives a mile from the stadium. So, but he's been a supporter of my channel for a while now. So he's following me on Twitter now, and he saw that I was going to be on here, so he said he would join us. So he was actually trying to get me to come up to the All-Star game up there. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
Good luck with that. Don't really know what to say to that. Again, thanks for joining the channel, or at least the stream tonight, to chat. We appreciate it. I appreciate it for sure. And hopefully there's enough enjoyment that you stick around. I'm more of a lamenting if I ever have to see Morrow playing against a Dynamo. All right, let's talk about, you know what? Thank you, Pat, for giving us a topic to start with. Let's talk about that. Rumor is Columbus Crew are currently in the process of are currently engaged with Tijuana, from Club Tijuana, the Xolos, if you will, from Liga MX, in trying to bring. Good job, Pat. Good job. Trying to bring Mauro Manotas, former Houston Dynamo striker, to Columbus Crew. He would be subject to allocation order, but Dynamo no longer hold his MLS rights. However, here's the kicker. The Dynamo still do hold roughly 20 to 25% sell-on fee, which means whatever Columbus Crew, if they do land him, were to pay in a transfer fee, the Dynamo would get 20% of that, and the other 80% would go to Club Tijuana. So an interesting turn of events here, because it was kind of rumored early on in the preseason that might be a player the Dynamo looked at to bring in at striker, and then we landed Sebastian Ferreira. And I don't know about you, Rob, but personally, I think Ferreira has been a far better signing than Morrow was so far. Sebastian looks to be every bit of a authentic, true striker at the MLS level, and even looks to, honestly, to me, to be a player that was well scouted by the front office to find a player of that caliber. And frankly, I feel like we are underpaying for what he's actually bringing to the team.
Hold on.
No, wait. I know you're going to bring up. Hold on, you're going to bring up. I'm sure you're going to bring up the MLS Players Union salary releases recently. You have to keep in mind those include also the transfer fee as it's distributed across the number of seasons of the contract. He's only on a 3-season contract, so yes, I think his salary was oh gosh, you'll have to pull it up for me, Rob. I think it was 1.2 million. No, I don't know. It was something ridiculous, but that's probably also including like a $400,000 for 3 years, $400,000 transfer fee per for 3 years. So a 1.2 million transfer fee or something to that effect. So just important to keep that in mind. I think a lot of people forget that is the case when it comes to MLS salaries. They see a lot of these transfers in and they're like, man, those salaries are massive. When in reality, a lot of that is transfer fee paid or other fees paid. Agent fees can be outrageous if you're not careful. So that's the case. Now, with Hector Herrera, of course, we get the advantage of he's on a free, so we don't actually have to pay for him in terms of a transfer fee. So his salary probably still going to be fairly high up there, but it's going to be, he may not look nearly as high salary-wise as a lot of people are expecting, because there's no transfer fee to also include in that salary.
All right.
So Rob, thoughts on Sebas? Sebas versus Morrow? Sorry.
Listen, I was a fan of Mauro Manotas. I actually have a Xolos Tijuana jacket that I bought just because of him, because I don't have a team in Liga MX. So I bought the Xolos because of Manotas. I liked him when he was here, and the idea of him coming back, I liked. But if you look at his age and his trajectory, it's definitely I hate to say it, but kind of going downward a little bit. And so you look at someone like Sebas, and it's only up for him. So to go down to South America and just pick him out and bring him up here, you can tell the team when he's on the field and when he's not on the field, there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference. I mean, these past couple of games where he hasn't played, they don't even seem like they know where to send it, you know? So it's you know, like even if he's not, you know, scoring a hat trick or anything, he's still making a difference on the field, you know, with in relation to the rest of the team on the field, the other players.
Yeah. You know, I look at Sebastian Ferreira, and I kind of feel like he's that player that, I mean, and we've seen it, right? When he's off the pitch, the difference in our offense is unmistakable. You know, and I don't feel like Morrow, you know, if you look at kind of the offseason, Morrow leaving and Ferreira kind of coming in, there was no drop off, in my opinion. Like, that's kind of the same level of play we were getting from the striker position. Morrow, you know, people tend to forget Morrow only had like 10 goals last season. I don't even know if he broke double digits. I think he maybe 11 or not last season, 2 seasons ago. But you know, he barely broke the double digit plateau, and he was stuck for a while on whatever his total goals was, tied with whoever at Brian Ching, I think, for total goals for the Dynamo for a while, like 3 or 4 months, and he just went a huge span where he just couldn't score a goal. He couldn't buy a goal. So yeah, you know, and I much like Pat, I love Morrow as well. I think, as you know, as a person, as a player, he's a great person. And I think he's got, you know, plenty of talent. I just think that the type of play that we play now favors Sebastian Ferreira and his more physical approach. Morrow was very easily knocked off the ball, very easily, you know, pushed off the ball. Morrow is not a hold-up forward. He's much more of a run on the ball and keep running type of striker, or try to poach it when he could. And I just feel like Sebastian Ferreira is not that player, right? Sebastian Ferreira can create. We saw it with the Thor goal and the Thor non-goal. He can also get it out wide. He can get, you know, he can hold up the ball as needed. He can draw fouls. A lot of things that I just couldn't see with Morrow, didn't see when Morrow was here. And so, you know, I wish him the best with Columbus and hope they can work that out, because I'd love for the Dynamo to get a little bit of money back out of that deal, even more than they've already gotten. Especially since, you know, a lot of us feel like we were underpaid for what Morrow is and can be. But C brings up an interesting point as well. He says it's why I think Fafa isn't a fit anymore. What is your take, Rob? How do you feel about Fafa right now? Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, his catchphrase is "slow feet don't eat." He's looking a little thin. I mean that he hasn't really looked slow. Don't get me wrong, but it's like there's something. Listen, I will go to bat for him more so than Corey Baird any day, personally. What does he say? Slow feet don't eat. America's obesity epidemic says otherwise. You got two larger guys talking about slow feet don't eat. You know, see more. Yes, indeed. No, man, listen. Without a doubt, I'm just telling you what he says. That's his slogan. It's not mine. It's not mine. And I love the guy. You know, he plays for our team. He's proud to play for our team. You know, he played for St. Pauli. He was proud to play for St. Pauli. He represents the teams he's there for. Would he maybe be a little more productive in San Antonio or El Paso or Indianapolis? You know, maybe. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I definitely feel he's a better fit elsewhere. You know, at this point, I agree with you. You know, he's not, I wouldn't say he's looking slow, definitely looking slower. But, you know, Sig brings up a point, wasn't Fafa dealing with a nagging injury? Yeah, he was supposedly dealing with the nagging injury. But I think there may be a little bit more to that than him actually being truly injured. You know, age
Yeah.
age is a thing, and he's definitely
Sure.
getting there. Definitely
Sure.
there when it comes to age. I think he's over 30 already, or at least 29. I don't know, but
I mean,
um,
how old is Minotas?
he's 26, 27, 27.
Is he? He seems older than that.
No, he's pretty young, man. We got
Is
him
he?
when he was like 19.
Okay, maybe that's why he seems like what
Because
he's
he was with
much
the
older.
Dynamo for like 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, but yeah, and tonight's point, Fafa's been he's been a workhorse this season for us. I mean, he was Iron Man last season for a reason for the Dynamo. He played just almost about every match, with the exception of his red card match, and one match where he was injured. But it's I look at Fafa kind of the same way that I look at like a player like Corey Bird, in terms of a player whose hype and potential before they got here has become much clearer in terms of where their ceiling is while they're here.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't want players like that. I look across the field at other players like Thor coming in as a guy who's a center forward who goes out and plays left wing and looks better to me playing left wing with the style of play that we want to play than Fafa has the entirety of the beginning of the season. So it is what it is. But like you said, there are teams out there that are a better fit or would be a good fit for Fafa if they're willing to pay for him. He's not super expensive, all things considered, but I'm sure the expectation is if we move him, there's got to be something in return. And with the rumors out there that there's, they're looking at a potential international player. Rumors are a guy from Honduras, looking at a guy from Progreso.
Well, that's another thing, though. It's like, how many international slots do we have left? I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing about Fafa. He's an American.
Yep.
So I mean, we don't, and it's. I would love if we had one of our players representing the United States in the World Cup, but we don't.
Yeah, it's MLS is, I think, it presents a challenge from the perspective of domestic versus international talent, and having to juggle those international slots. And the Dynamo have a international slot that this year they had traded away. Thank you, Matt Jordan, for continuing to shove your terrible management back at us a year later after you're gone. But we are down an international slot for this season because of that. We traded for a couple of slots in the early part of the preseason, so that we could, or off season, so that we could have flexibility. A lot of the players we brought in the off season were not international players, with the exception of Sebas. So Pat and Asher have been very focused on bringing in players that are much more domestic oriented. But even with that being said, and of course we have our young players down in DynaDos, that any player that gets loaned to DynaDos for the season, if they're an international player, DynaDos has to deal with the international player slot, but the Dynamo would not need to. So players that are playing for DynaDos that take up an international slot would not take up an international slot if they stay down there. Yeah, those were the glory days, weren't they?
Yeah,
Rico,
of course,
Holden,
I remember.
Ching, Cameron. We had Eddie
Brad
Robinson,
Davis.
Brad Davis, Brian Mullen.
He got a couple caps.
Yeah. There was always Dwayne De Rosario, who was Canadian,
Would
count a little different. Just a lot of options, right?
Yeah.
But you have to take a look at where we're at right now, and the players we have right now. And I would say that I like what we have built so far. And what we have built so far, I think, has to, at this point, go ahead. Oh, the Tally Hall was one, yeah. And include Hector Herrera in that build, because we're already paying. We already have the international slot for him. So we've already made the roster room. We've got the roster space for him. He's that other DP. So, he's definitely a part of the team at this point. And you have to factor him in now moving forward, as we're looking outside, past this international break, and looking forward. You have to start looking at the team with him included. The the rumor, of course, being, or the prevailing thought is that he's going to debut in early July. A lot of people have pegged the game on the 9th, I
On
believe,
the 9th against Dallas. Yeah.
as his debut match. I don't know how much that is true. I would suspect that's probably the case, but there's definitely a lot of question to be answered in that regard. But I've asked this of every guest host that we've had on. I've asked it of Mark. I've answered it myself. I've answered it on every show that I've been on, which, by the way, if you haven't heard yet, I was on Dynalytics show last night. So make sure you go and listen to that over on Twitter. They've got a link for it over there. I'm sure Knight can link you also in chat if it lets him put links in chat. But the question has always been and always will be, what do you expect out of Hector Herrera, and what kind of an impact do you think he's going to make? So, Rob, I'm going to throw it to you. I want to hear your opinion.
Well, the number one impact he's going to have is in the stands. That's number one. He's going to bring in fans that maybe have never come to a Dynamo match before, or they've only come to see LAFC with Carlos Vera or LA Galaxy with Chicharito. They're going to come to see Hector Herrera and support Houston Dynamo. They're going to have Hector Herrera Houston Dynamo shirts. They're not going to have Chicharito LA Galaxy shirts or Carlos Vela LAFC shirts. They're going to have Hector Herrera shirts with Houston. So that's going to be huge, number one. And that's going to build the atmosphere in the stadium. And anytime you have a great home atmosphere, it really lifts up the players. It really does. And that's why it was so important for them to give us that Hustle Town section in the north end of the stadium so we could have that organization of all the supporters groups together cheering on the team. And, whenever they have a big win, they come to us and they applaud us, for thanking us for helping keep the atmosphere alive for them. And it really, it's have you ever heard the term energy vampire? Some people might consider me an energy vampire, Sean, where, but it's not an energy vampire. It's like I feed off of the energies of people around me. I'm very susceptible to other people's emotions. So that's why I love going to sporting events. I love going to concerts because you just have that shared energy and it's typically positive. But if a team, as the Dynamo have been doing the past two previous seasons, lose more than they win, that energy's pretty low. And a lot of people don't want to pay to have a downer. You don't want to pay to see your team lose. That sucks, So
I mean, I've done that for 10 plus years now. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, yeah, so have I. But when they win, and when it's a great, they make a great goal, it's like you forget about all the bad stuff. You forget about it. You're just there in the moment, and you feel it, and you're there, and you're part of it, and there's nothing else like it. That's what, when a lot of things are shut down during the pandemic, it was hard on so many people because of that, me included. But so it's kind of a long-winded question. I know this is a long format show, but number one is going to be in the stands without a doubt. Okay. And, San Francisco, you can borrow my energy, Rob, but you can't have it. Okay. So on the field itself, it's I have a wait and see attitude about it. He's a talented player, but he is in the downward scale of, he's 32 years old. He's about to turn 33, and we have him for 3 or 4 years? 3 years. So until he's 36, which for a midfielder is pretty old. Steve Clark is 36 right now, but Pat Onstad played until he was 42, 43. So goalkeepers can play a little bit longer. Because you're not running as much. You're not losing. You don't have that step to lose. So if he's able to stay around the middle of the field and just send in passes here and there, he should be okay. but do I think he's gonna be? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna be there long enough to help bring in Brooklyn Reigns, and then have Brooklyn Reigns take over for him, and then we will have our United States national team star right there. If you look down in Dynamo 2, we do have a couple of players that are playing in the youth national team. So
yeah, I look at Hector Herrera, and it's definitely a move to bring fans back into the stadium, but I also think there's a piece of this puzzle that tends to go unspoken of, and I think you hinted at it, you kind of touched on it, but I don't know if you really clarified it enough for people, and I want to take that opportunity. So
sure, go for it. It's fine.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Kyle's comment. It's so funny. Hi, Kyle, by the way. I know people think that Kyle and I are the same person, but I promise you we are not, even though you will never see us in the same room at the same time or the same place at the same time. But I think what Hector Herrera brings to this club, I think there's three things in particular. One, he brings obviously just a following in terms of his his career up until this point, and in terms of his Mexican national team status. He's still a star on that team. And with that brings eyeballs, which, as you and I were talking about related to videos, eyeballs are a piece of the puzzle, but they're not the entire puzzle. Doesn't matter how many people you get in the seat. So, for 3 months, if after those 3 months I think, who was it that said it earlier to, where did it go? Where'd it go? There was a comment in chat, and Knight's comment about how even with Chicharito, Galaxy are still struggling with attendance. You can bring in that big name player, but at some point, that bringing in of the big name player has to equate to success on the field.
Right. Sure.
It's not enough to just bring that player in. And so, that's the first thing that he brings, though, is he brings the eyeballs. He brings the, casual fans, people who are just looking for an opportunity to see this guy who they've watched on TV a few times, where they saw play with their favorite team in Atletico Madrid, or who they saw play with the Mexican national team. So he's going to bring those people into the stadium. And I mentioned this last night on the Dynalytics podcast, and I think it's super important, or Dynalytics show, sorry, in advance if I mispronounced whatever that was. But he brings people into the stadium. It's the responsibility of the fans that are of the fans that are in the stadium, of the supporters groups, and the other fans, to bring that atmosphere and that energy you were just talking about, the energy, the atmosphere, the vibe, the all of that, to bring that and get those people into the match, get those people enjoying what they're watching. I've been to Astros games where they've lost. I've been to Astros games where they've definitely won. I've been to Astros playoff games. I've been to Texans games. I've been to Rockets games. I went to the Rockets games when they were on the 20 some odd game winning streak, 23 game winning streak. I saw the final match of that winning streak, by the way. Amazing. Final game. Amazing game. But all of that being said, every time I've gone back to one of those games has been because of the atmosphere created by the fans. Some of it was also the play on the court or on the field, but it was because of feeling like this is an entertainment option for me. This is something I want to go back to. And so, if somebody is a casual fan and they come to see Hector Herrera, and the supporters groups, there's like 20 people out there out of the like 200 and something that should be showing up, then why would I come back? Obviously, they don't even care about their own team. So it's gonna be essential, especially these first 5, 6, 7, 8 matches where Hector Herrera is on the team, that the supporters absolutely come out in full force. And I'm not saying they won't, and I'm not saying they don't already, but it's just extra important that they when they come out, they're doing it in a way that is encouraging and welcoming to every other fan that makes it out. Be willing to open your arms and say, hey, you're here for Hector Herrera, so are we. We're happy to have you here, and come hang out. Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy this, and make it an experience that they can't forget. But that's the second. That's still part of the first thing he's going to bring, but that's the responsibility of the fans and the supporters. The second thing he's going to bring, though, is he's going to bring accountability. Man, I can't think of the last time we had a player on the team that actually brought accountability to the team. Accountability to other players on the team, younger players, veteran players, homegrown players, other DPs. It doesn't matter who you are. When a player like Hector Herrera is coming on the team, when a player with his established reputation is coming to the team, you full well know as another player that your expectation or the expectation upon you increases. You are expected to put in the effort. If he is putting in 100%, you better damn well be sure to be putting in at least 100%. And if you're not putting in that 100%, you better expect that he's going to call you out on it. And that's the type of accountability that I feel like this team has lacked for so long. I've not seen players on this squad in so long that kept each other accountable. I haven't seen it since the Dominic Kinnear days with players like Brad Davis and Dwayne De Rosario and and Brian Ching and Eddie Robinson. Man, if you went out there on those teams and you didn't give 100% in practice or on the pitch in the match, your ass was done. Like you were going to get reamed. And even if we didn't see it on the pitch, I know, I don't even have to say, I believe. No, I know they got reamed after the fact, whether it was by Dom Kinnear or the players, other players themselves who had earned that and put in the effort. And I just feel like that is something he's going to bring that we just haven't seen in so long. And that is, I think, the thing that I key on the most. But there is a third thing. He's going to bring an understanding of how to play this game at a professional level for all of these young guys that we've started to develop and started to bring in and started to build up. Players like a Beto Avila, players like a Marcelo Palomino, players like Juarez that are in DynaDos, players like Juan Castilla, players like Brooklyn Reigns, players like Vasquez, all of these players that have been outstanding with DynaDos, even Memo to some extent, right? And these other young players. But players, Ethan Bartlow is another great example. Thor is another great example. These players that have been brought in over the last 2, 3, 4 seasons and come up through the academy, these players now have someone to strive to mirror, strive to be like. When was the last time? I mean, look, Memo Rodriguez, as great as a homegrown as he's been in terms of just being a role model for the homegrowns, I am tired of him being the role model for homegrowns and the aspiration that homegrowns have. I want a player that homegrowns can look at and say, I want to be like that guy, and he's playing on the team that I want to play for. Because up until now, they've all wanted to go elsewhere because they've not had that guy to look up to. And Albert Elise was not that guy. Mauro Manotas was not that guy. Romel Kyoto damn well for sure was not that guy. So, and I loved all three of those players. I loved as people, and even as players, but they weren't the right fit for what we needed for that particular process. And I think even as good as Memo's been in the last couple matches, I still think that he's never going to be that top tier guy in MLS. And at some point we have to stop trusting that eventually he's going to get there or pushing him to try to be there. I think we've seen his ceiling. I think we know where his ceiling exists, and expecting him to become anything more I'm done trying to have that. And I think Hector Herrera answers that question in a lot of ways. And so, I look at it and that's what I feel like. So.
All right.
That's a lot. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Good points. Good points, Sean.
So let's look at chat real quick. Sorry. Look at chat real quick. Tyler Derrick was a homegrown. Yeah. That's not a guy you want, young players looking up to. Pat says, going to steal the tagline of the new season of Shoresy. Biggest problem we've had with the players in the past. It's not that they don't love to win, it's that they don't hate to lose. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a really good call out, actually. But another thing too, and it's not a Hector Herrera thing, but you look at the talent level that we've seen come in since Pat's got here. Brooklyn Reigns, Xavier Vasquez, even the young players that were already here in Juan Castilla and Marcelo Palomino, Juarez, the list goes on and on and on. But all these young players, they have, it almost seems like to me, they have a secondary drive now. And they're pushing even harder than they were before. You know, as incredible as DynaDos has been this season, you know, there's other players that can still step up and play. You know, we were just talking last week on the show about we have 12 players between senior team and DynaDos and the academy called up to their respective national team, you know, or their youth national teams, as it were. And to me, that's just incredible. I can't remember the last time I saw the Dynamo across their organization have 12 players called up to a national, you know, on an international break for any reason. So, you know, the level of talent is there. You know, these players aren't just called up because, you know, because they're a player in the system. They're called up because they have the talent to compete at that level. And the coaches want to see them play. So, you know, the talent is there. We're finding and building the talent. We've developed this talent, and now it's time to take advantage of it. And to your earlier point, you know, let's say that Hector Herrera sticks around for his exact 3 years, and he starts to decline in that third year. Brooklyn Reigns is ready to step into that role. Hopefully Coco is still here, ready to step into that role, or ready to continue playing in that role. You know, hopefully Juan Castilla by then is ready to go, and another player in the midfield in the same basic position. Hopefully Juarez is ready by that point. Hopefully Palomino has come in by that point. You know, we have a wealth of talent in the youth, but it's a matter of helping that transition happen. And I just think Hector Herrera can help bridge that gap a little bit. And again, just be a role model that we've lacked for so long in the Dynamo club as a whole.
No, you're absolutely right. Again, you bring up the good points. You know, somebody's asking where Palomino has been, and then someone else earlier, you know, the Dynamo haven't been very clear about injuries, and, you know, we were all wondering where Sebas has been, and then it finally came out that he was in COVID protocol. Like, did he had COVID? Was he exposed? I mean, like, so they're not really being, you know, as out with what's going on with these players when it comes to their injuries and you know, illnesses. So we don't really know what's going on. You know, if we see, you know, Fafa's being a little slow, and then somebody's like, well, he's got a nagging injury. It's like, I didn't know that he had a nagging injury. He's not listed as hurt anywhere, you know, so.
If there's one knock I have on MLS as a whole, it's that injury reporting is very opaque. Nobody really knows, you know. MLS fantasy, when you're playing Major League Soccer fantasy, good luck knowing who to play every week, because half of your players are probably actually not going to play in the match because they're injured, but it was never reported.
I gave up. I gave up on that.
I still have the same roster I had like 5 weeks ago, and I was doing well. I was like second place in the Surge League, and I'm just like, whatever, I don't even care anymore. But, you know, a lower body injury. Yeah, lower body injury or upper body injury are two of my favorites.
That's a hockey. Classics. That's big in hockey, yeah.
you know, and some coaches will say, well, we do it because, you know, we want to keep some of that information to ourselves, not give our opposition advantages, you know, things like that. But, you know, there's got to be a little more transparency around it, you know, especially with the COVID protocol stuff. Like, why did it take that? And, you know, now to his credit, maybe he didn't, you know, maybe he never tested positive. But the team still knew that he was exposed, at least to some extent. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in COVID protocols. But, you know, even with that being said, I mean, I look at the team, I think, on a whole, the club on a whole, and there's no doubt we're definitely headed on the right trajectory, finally. And, you know, I've given all the credit that I can possibly give to Ted Siegel for the work that he's put in as owner, to Pat Onstad for the work he's put in as GM, to the work that Asher Mendelson has put in as technical director. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember his official title. And the work that Paolo has put in as head coach. Look, it requires, you know, this front office in terms of player personnel and player acquisitions. It only works because everybody does their part. It requires all of them to be on the same page and to be working together to build the best roster possible, to make sure that they're getting the most out of the roster slots that they are, you know, that they have, to make sure that if a player becomes disgruntled or upset or frustrated at the situation, that they move that player on and they don't leave that player around to become a cancer in the locker room. You know, whatever the cases may be out there, that, you know, it falls on them as a front office to do the right thing, to bring in the right players for what they're trying to do. And I look at this first let's call it the half of the season at this point. And I don't think there's any doubt that they've done that so far. There were players that were moved in the offseason that honestly surprised me a little bit. Sure, there were a lot of players kept around, but there were a couple of players that I was like, wait, why is he gone? Like, what? But I think, on the whole, we've been better. I mean, there's no doubt. You statistically look at the team, we've been better.
Yeah, without a doubt. We've absolutely been better. I mean, we were the worst the past 2 seasons. We were the worst in the West. I mean, thankfully, we weren't wooden spoon winners. We weren't the worst in the whole league. Thank you, Cincinnati, for that. But, so, I mean, it's looking up, and a lot of people, they want to get there right now. And, I was a little upset that we didn't put out a winning roster to win the Open Cup match in Kansas City. I think that was a winnable game. I think that was a very winnable game. And when your best player in the whole competition is Sam Junka, that's not very promising. It really makes me believe they didn't really care about this competition at all.
And that seems plausible to me. I've spoken before that when you get to this stage of the season too, especially as they started to have a couple of minor injuries, COVID protocols, things like that. Me personally, I wanted to see him just trot out a full DynaDos roster and absolutely no Dynamo senior players. Like, let those guys who've already proven that they can play together, let them just go out there and have fun. It's the Open Cup and that sort of thing. But I also get it from a club perspective. It's an opportunity. If you can go out there and win, and it wasn't like it was an unwinnable game. It was certainly winnable. But if you can go out there and you can steal a victory in Kansas City, then you set yourself up for a potential run at Open Cup, which sets you up for a potential run at CCL if you can win it. But, things happen, situations being what they are. I'm okay with still not being an Open Cup. I think that, this team was not really built for Open Cup, to make a run at Open Cup. But it was good. Honestly, it was good to see some of the young players, but I would have rather seen a lot more of the young players get minutes because I felt like there were players that we expected to see that we didn't. Marcelo Palomino, and others who we didn't see that I feel like really could have used that opportunity to at least show what they're capable of. But now we're out of it. We can't look backwards. We got to look forwards. And coming up in, what is it, a week's time? Less than a week's time. We've got a match coming up again pretty soon. Okay, we'll talk about that. He wants to move on. Evil Death wants to move on. So we'll talk predictions for Charities Cup match against San Luis.
I predict it's going to be hot.
I predict triple-digit temperatures. Going out on a limb on that one. Yeah.
I mean, how many of our guys are not going to be there because of international break?
Five senior players. No, six. Thor is also gone. That's right. I forgot about Thor. Yeah,
because of Iceland. Yeah. So that's 6 of our senior players. And then I know a few of our youth or DynaDos players are gone too because they're playing with under 17s, under 19.
Juan Castilla is gone.
Brooklyn Reigns is gone.
Is gone. Yeah, both of them with I think
the
US
Xavier
team.
Valdez.
And then there's an academy kid, midfielder. There was Thor, and then there's another academy kid.
So we got so many people. We got so many people on international duty. I don't know anything about Atletico San Luis other than they're like half owned by Atletico Madrid and half owned by San Luis Potosi. Is that right? Is Potosi? I feel like that's not correct. Like I'm saying that super white.
George, help us. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
But yeah, so it's I mean, they're kind of new to Liga MX even. I mean, they got that La Liga money pumped in. So I'm not sure how old the team actually is. I don't know if they're a new team or if they've been around for a long time and they just kind of got this influx of money. I don't know too much about them, honestly. But I know Where is Hector Herrera from? Do you know what town he's from? I mean, I guess I could look that up myself, but
I have absolutely no clue.
let me.
But I do like that you unintentionally called out the connection between San Luis and the Dynamo in Hector Herrera because
Yeah,
of that connection from Atletico Madrid, which you did point out. You know, a lot of fans were wondering why it wasn't Atletico Madrid. It's because, you know, because typically that's how it usually works. Is
yeah,
that the Charities Cup team has some connection to a player we've brought in or a coach we've brought in.
correct.
And so this time it
Correct.
just happened to be I mean, who's surprised by it? It's Hector Herrera. You
I
know,
mean,
that connection to Atletico.
Atletico Madrid wasn't coming, so they were like, "We'll send our B team." That's their B team.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of like Manchester City. It's like NYCFC is their B team. You know, so Hector Herrera's from Rosarito, which is it's actually beach town on the Baja California Peninsula. So very nice. But he started off at Pachuca. That's where he started.
Not a bad team to start with either.
The University of Football.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call themselves.
Evil Death says Nelson gets a clean sheet. That's his bold prediction, or their bold prediction.
Michael Nelson.
I think Nelson is probably not starting. I think Steve Clark's back by now. I mean, Steve Clark was only missing because of his baby being born.
Right.
So yeah, I would be shocked if Steve Clark wasn't back for the Charities Cup match, to be honest with you. And
yeah, but would you put him there?
Sure,
why not just give Nelson? Because I mean, put Nelson there. He needs more game time experience because
you have two halves. Let Nelson play one half and Steve Clark play the other half. Start with Steve Clark in the first half, and then second half bring on Michael Nelson.
Are they going to have unlimited substitutions?
It's a friendly, of course they will.
No, not necessarily.
No, they will. They'll have them for something like a Charities Cup match. Yeah. Not only is it a friendly, it's an exhibition match. So like it means absolutely nothing to anybody.
It means absolutely positively nothing.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we were the DynaDos have a game that day too against Sporting Kansas City too. And a lot
in
of
the same venue now.
In the same venue now. At first it was going to be at Aviva, and a lot of us in the Surge were going to we're going to skip the charity game and go to the DynaDos game because that kind of means something. Because it's a league game. But yeah, they're still missing some players too. So, but yeah, now they moved it to PNC. It's a doubleheader, and yeah, their game starts at 4:30, which is the hottest part of the day. It's they need to give us free water.
I'm assuming they'll do the free water, but I'm also assuming that the supporters are going to be lobster colored by the end of the evening.
I'm wearing a big hat. I'm wearing long sleeves. So
good luck. Hope that helps.
Oh yeah. Yeah, trust me. I'll be good. I'll be good, dude.
I'm wearing long sleeves in 100+ degree weather. Hope that helps.
Oh, dude, it's worth it when it's breathable. The Astros are not doing well. Yeah, the breathable sun stuff. It's good. It'll work. Lots of sunscreen. I don't like to wear sunscreen. I don't like those chemicals. You got to keep reapplying it, and you sweat it off. And if you wear it on your face, it gets all in your eyes. It burns and stuff.
Yeah, to C's point, I found out real quick at the Austin game how much the sun bounces off that white concrete in the supporters section. And that match was only it was only like 90 degrees. And but yeah, it was hot. It was very hot. And this is going to be 100 degrees, and the sun is going to be like that sun is going to be right there, a little bit off, but right there beaten down. I, for one, am unavailable, so I will not be at the matches, but I wish you all Godspeed in your recovery after. But
recovery after the next day, it's a dash match.
That's what I mean. And actually, what a wonderful transition to the Houston Dash. Let's talk about them real quick.
All right.
Real quick being a misnomer because we're going to talk about them quite a bit. Rob, you have been out to a couple of dash matches this season so far, and home matches, and you decided this last match that you didn't want to play drums with me, and I was sad. And yes, I'm calling you out on the show for this. So I've taken up the mantle of playing the drums.
That wasn't the last match. That was the last match I was at. The last match, when they won 5-0, I couldn't go because I had the flu.
That was not a. Oh, wait, that was a home match. Yes, it was, and I was at that match. You're right. Okay, yes, I remember that now. Okay,
I watched that. Yes. I watched that thanks to some kind soul on YouTube.
Yeah. Shout out to kind souls on YouTube who are sharing and restreaming the NWSL broadcast. Appreciate you. But let's talk about that match. Last night against
Angel City.
Angel City. I was gonna say Portland. I'm like, that's not right. Angel City FC. And Jane Campbell, forever known as the GOAT when it comes to saves. That double save was one of the best double saves I think I have ever seen. Let alone NWSL. I mean, in soccer, just period, men's or women's.
Sure.
And then, it wasn't just really the double save. It was technically a triple because she did catch that ball after that was technically headed towards goal. So it was a triple save. But the double back-to-back, the athleticism required to get that second save and to recover from the first save, I mean, just insane. And that's what we've come to expect from Jane Campbell. But the team looking a little weak in the back in the last match, definitely providing plenty of opportunities. And if Angel City were a little bit more on frame a little more often and Jane Campbell Jane Campbell, I wouldn't have been shocked to see Angel City take that match. But, hey, a draw on the road, even if it was 0-0, is not the worst result. We'll definitely take the point on the road. There's nothing wrong with that, especially as well as the Dash have played this season. Yeah. We are well set up for this final push of the season. I think there's another 6 or 7 home matches left, something like that. And then, another like 8, I think, road matches left to go. But setting up ourselves well, or setting up them, they're setting themselves up very well for a run at the playoffs for a change. And how nice would it be for this year to be the year that we actually do make the playoffs? Because, Sarah Loudon taking over, as unexpected as it was, what an absolute, let's call it blessing in disguise that she was, she was already on the sideline and available to step in, and then stepped in, didn't even miss a beat, in my opinion. Absolutely stepped in and took ownership of that position. And you can't argue with the work the team has put on the field. I mean, it's been incredible.
I mean, were you there at Pitch 25 when President Jessica O'Neill came for the last game I was at?
I think I if I was at the match, then yes, I was at Pitch 25 before.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you remember. I told her, I was like, listen, I apologize if this is out of line. I don't know the specific details of the situation, but I would really love to see the acting title removed from Sarah Loudon's name. And
if I remember correctly, Jessica's response to you was, "We will look into that."
Yeah, she was like, "No, that's a very good point, and we appreciate." She's like, "I appreciate you telling me that. We want to hear from the fans about what they think." And I'm like, and I was like, she's earned it on the field and off the field, because also, her poise and leadership with just everything that's going on with the team and without, outside of the team, it's been huge. And, she's handled it brilliantly. So I can't see them finding anyone better, and I don't think they should look for anyone else. Again, I don't know the specifics of why it hasn't been. I don't know the specifics with the contract and the with James Clarkson's what they have to do to officially dismiss him, if there's any kind of legal repercussions they would have to worry about, with contracts and everything, but there was a finding by the league and the league's players association. And it happened with Orlando, with their coach right after, we beat them 5-0. then their head coach got, the same exact thing happened to them. So.
Yeah, I mean, technically, what's up, Manny? Thanks for the sub, Manny. I appreciate that. Actually, appreciate that a lot. It's important to remember, Clarkson, nothing was actually found as of yet. He still technically needs to be considered innocent, technically. With that being said, something there, obviously, to some extent. I mean, it's hard to say. Information will probably never be released publicly. Same thing is likely going to be the case with what just happened with Orlando's coach. Probably never going to know the full details of it. But, I don't think this is nearly the end of this process. I think there's going to be more. But with that said, to your point, I mean, Sarah's been unbelievable, and her understanding and knowledge and just feel for the game tactically is just, you can't replicate that. There are very few coaches that you can find, women's game or men's game, that have that level of just inherent understanding and they inherently feel the pulse of the game, even to an extent where they just kind of know instinctually what's happening and what changes they need to make and what shifts in between matches they need to make. And I've brought this up outside of the show, but the one thing I feel like the team needs to do at this point is they need to back Loudon by bringing in an assistant coach for her. That's going to be somebody with the experience of either NWSL play or at least international women's play, or other leagues internationally. Someone who can support her, but also doesn't aspire to become the head coach. Somebody that she can trust to kind of guide her through some of these processes that may be a little more difficult as a rookie head coach, if you will. But even then, I mean, the way she's coaching right now, I don't even know if she needs it. I still would if I was the Dash, but where she's at and how she's coaching, I mean, just amazingly, absolutely amazing. And and if she continues doing it at the end of the season, I don't think there's any doubt that interim title is absolutely going to be removed by the end of the season. So, yeah. So let's see. Evil Death. It will be a crime if Campbell is not selected as starting goalkeeper for the U.S. women's national team. I agree with you, but then I don't agree with you. I think there's a number of keeper options there that they can go with, and unfortunately, the women's national team for so long has been a place that a team that selects based off of certain popularity metrics and not necessarily the best person for the job. And yes, I'm throwing the U.S. women's national team under the bus by saying it, but it's true. And so, we'll have to see. But just an amazing job by Campbell last night. And if nothing else, you would have to think that raises her stock as a potential U.S. women's national team keeper.
Yeah, when's the last time she even went to a women's national team camp?
It's been a little while. It's been a minute, as they say. Been a minute. So let's, we've talked Dash. Let's talk about that 5-0 game real quick. Nichelle Prince with a hat trick.
Yes.
Absurd level of play. Rachel Daly with the goal, and the other goal was scored by Alozi.
That Daly goal from the Maria Sanchez pass, I showed my parents. My parents don't really care about the Dash, but I showed them, I was like, I got to show you this. This is amazing. We were at dinner. I showed my dad and I showed my mom, and my dad was like, whoa. He played a little bit when he was a kid,
sure.
So he was like, wow, that's, just as a skill, just that was just an amazing skill for any level of soccer, any gender. I mean, just that pass to be that perfect, and for her to head it with the two defenders on her right there in such a perfect angle to loop it over the goalkeeper. Wow, that's got to be the NWSL goal of the year. And it's crazy that it happened in the same game that Nichelle Prince gets her first ever hat. Was that her first ever hat trick?
It was the first Dash ever hat trick, actually.
The first Dash ever. I mean, and that was the one Dash game I didn't make it to because I was sick.
I'm not saying the Dash are trying to tell you something, Rob, but I hope you realize they're telling you something.
Oh,
Just kidding. No, yeah, I mean, it was incredible to watch live because I mean, it happened right in front of us. I mean, just absurd. And you know, it was extra fun because I watched that. So I don't usually watch the games back after the fact unless there's something special that happened in that match. I watched the entirety of those highlights like 3 times after the match. And yeah, I mean, the Robin Van Persie vibe, 100%. I mean,
but Manny's saying I'm not allowed at the Dash games anymore. Come on, bro.
I mean, he's not wrong though.
I got
No,
season tickets. I'm going to be there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if you go and they lose, then, you know, I mean, you know, point taken, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, you know, that goal, we have to give so much credit to Maria Sanchez for the delivery of that ball. Because I mean, it was on the run. Rachel Daly was on the run.
On the run.
She leapt. I mean, it was every moment of that play. If you are a young player aspiring to hit, you know, MLS or NWSL or international or whatever, if you are a young player, go back and watch that entire sequence leading up from the moment that Maria got the ball to the moment that she passes the ball and serves that ball in, to the moment that Rachel is on that ball with her head, the looping header into the goal, like you said, you know, and just the entire, I mean, Rachel Daly laying out for a header when she's the first player. I mean, all of that is just unbelievable. And Rachel knew, I mean, the moment she had the header, you know, she didn't like get back up. She was laying down. She laid out and she just was looking at it like she was like, you know, her head was up, but she saw it go in and she was like, you know, you can see the literal sigh of relief. And it broke their backs. And you know, it broke the opposition back. It was, you know, I always like to say, and, you know, because we hear it all the time in other sports, you know, when you get a lead, you got to step on their neck and you have to absolutely break their neck. Be willing to just don't capitulate and be willing to play their game, because now we've been up for, you know, we're up 2 goals with 30 minutes left. They're not going to come back. You have to know, soccer, anything can happen within less than 2 minutes, let alone how much time was left on the clock at that point. But again, just, I mean, picture perfect, absolutely, I'm going to use the word magisterial play. Thank you, Ray Hudson. Just, I mean, every moment of that play was just stellar, and it invokes the level of play that these ladies are capable of and the level that they have reached. And also, to some extent, the synchronicity between those two players, the understanding between those two players. I don't know if there's another 2 players, not only on the team, but in the league right now, that have that level of connection to hit that kind of a cross on the run while the striker is on the run, and the striker is able to hit that ball on a header, full out dive for it. Just, I mean, just craziness, incredible, amazing, beautiful. Every word I have in my vocabulary absolutely describes that goal.
And again, when Nichelle Prince with the hat trick, and Alozi with her first goal for the Dash, what a special night. And we really, if you guys have never been to a Houston Dash match, if you're just Dynamo fans, you really should come out and see a Dash match. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. And Sean, I'll get up there and play drums with you again, bro. I'll do it.
Yay.
I just my buddy Marlon was there with his daughter, and I kind of want to hang out with them. You know, it wasn't anything against you, bro. It was.
I'm just giving you crap. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna share this story because not a lot of people, I don't think, ever have realized this, but it was interesting because I was the only drum player for that match, the 5-0 in particular. Because I was the only drum player for that match, what ended up happening is towards the end of the match, people would come up and just play. Like at the very end of the match, I had 2 people that came up just randomly and started playing with me.
Cool.
Because we had 2 extra drums set out, and that was amazing. But one of them actually signed up to join. So, hey,
nice.
Apparently, the more desperate I look as a drummer, the more people I can bring into the group. But no, it was incredible. And Jake, I hope you're watching, or at least I hope you'll watch this back later. I hope you're feeling better, and if not, I hope you get to feeling better, man. I know that You got a little something going on like Rob here had.
I think I got it from him actually. So I've been sick since that Dash game.
Ooh.
I came home and I started feeling bad. And I took a couple of COVID tests and they were negative. So I was like, okay, well, I guess it's just a flu.
Good. You didn't get it from me. Let's be clear. You did not get it from me.
Yeah, and then the flu went away, and then I got a sinus infection. So now I'm on antibiotics. So thankfully, I don't drink alcohol as it is. But
I will say this: I know you don't drink alcohol, and I completely support and respect that. For anybody else, alcohol, if you do it right, like a shot of whiskey, is a great way to actually kill bacteria and virus in your throat. In your tract. I didn't use it. Actually, I really kind of kicking myself. But
you can't snort whiskey, my friend.
No.
And that's where I have the issues is up here, not down here.
So that is true. But the thing is even though the actual infection may be up here in the nasal cavity, that actually does, because it clears going down. What happens is some of that will remain and it'll clear out whatever's like right there.
Yeah.
And even though you don't feel like it's up here or there, it is still also there as well. Anyways, I digress. Robin, hey, he's gotten better, even if it's barely. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
So I guess, Robin, did you see him at the Blue Lion? I thought about going, but I still wasn't feeling like. I went to the grocery store, and that's just like, yeah, I'm not.
George,
that's as much as I can.
George, you've never had COVID or anything else because A, you drink like a elephant. And B, because you wear that gator every match you're at, and so you've got that automatic filter going on, buddy.
Dude, I need, that's a good point, dude. I mean, maybe, I'm vaccinated and double boosted against COVID, but and I was vaccinated against the flu, but there are other strains of different things. So maybe it might be good for us to just continue to wear face masks when we're out in public. I mean, shit, I knew in 2020, I get bad seasonal allergies, and I didn't get sick at all in 2020 because I was wearing that face mask everywhere. And, and once I got vaccinated and more people started getting vaccinated, I started wearing it less and less. And fuck it. Maybe I need to start wearing it again, especially, you were talking about the sun bouncing off of the white concrete. We need to just start wearing spacesuits.
All right, that's a little bit far. Unless you install a fan to circulate air within the suit, that may be going a little far. But you can totally do it.
No, absolutely. Like, you'd have to have like an air conditioning unit in there because it would get hot. Well, think about like what do furries do? Don't like good furry suits have air conditioning? I told you I was going to try not to take this off the rails, and here I go.
I thought you swore to me you were not going to go the Finister route. I'm sorry, Mark. I am sorry. I am really looking forward to you coming back, buddy. I really. Just kidding. Go ahead, Rob. Continue on your furry. Continue with your furry track.
I'm just saying, like, good like costumes like that have some sort of fans or air conditioning system. And I know that the characters at Disney World do not, because they don't give a shit about you at Disney. I worked for Disney. They don't give a shit about anybody at Disney.
So Eric, aka Old Soccer Guy, wants to know what's your furry.
What's my furry? I'm not a furry, bro.
I'm not either, and I don't have one. Back to Dynamo. Maybe Diesel Fox.
Yeah, Diesel.
Not my brand.
Well, they have those like neck fans. I might actually, if I can find mine, I might bring my neck fan to the game on Saturday. Yeah, I might have a neck fan, bandana, face mask. I might have a big hat. You're not going to be able to recognize me, bro.
Are you talking about for Charities Cup or the match after Charities Cup?
For the match after Charities Cup,
like the not the same day, like another later. I'm not talking Dash either. I'm talking the next MLS match.
No, we'll see. I don't know, because that'll be the next MLS match. That'll be a night game.
Yeah, I don't think we have any day matches until like September, October. after this. I think it's all night matches, 7 kickoffs or later. But even then, I mean, 7 p.m. The sun is still out, but you know, it's not the same. Thank God.
I mean, the Portland Thorns at Houston Dash on Sundays at 6 p.m., which is a little earlier than it should be.
I'm referring to only MLS matches.
Okay. All right. Next MLS Chicago Fire is on the 25th. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff. And that's, you know, June 25th. I mean, it's going to be dark at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So it'll still be warm. It'll still be pretty heavy warm, but
7:30. I'm going to that Austin game. That's an 8 p.m. kickoff. But it's all shaded there, and they're going to be up in a stupid corner. But yeah, 7:30. Saturday, August 13th, 8 p.m. against Montreal. It's a 7-1-3 night. So
yeah, I think like we have one that might be a 2 p.m. kickoff, but I'm pretty sure that's away from PNC later on sometime this summer, maybe in August or September. But then
the earliest game I see on here is it's the last game of the season. It's a Sunday, October 9th at 4 p.m.
So what's interesting about that match, definitely recommend you get tickets no matter where the Dynamo are at that point in time, because Chicharito is coming to town to face Ache. Yeah. And I mean, decision day, everybody's playing at the same time, Western Conference. I mean, come on, you can't ask for a better setup for the end of the season. We were talking about earlier, Evil Death. You know, the rumor going around is July 9th. July 9th against Frisco is purported, not reported, purported to be the day and the match to look at as his debut match. But
I got 2 tickets for that game.
Oh, nice. But it's going to depend on, you know, how he's feeling, how many minutes they're going to give him. I mean, even still, if he only comes in and plays 30 minutes in that match, it's still enough, right? Like, just let him play. That's all I ask. You know, and I want to see him line up against, or not against, but alongside Coco. I've been looking forward to that particular pairing for a while, because I think both have enough going forward and coming back in defense to be able to play, and they're both adequately, you know, capable of being box-to-box midfielders, and they both play that way, and so I'd like to see that kind of be our at least see how it plays out. You know, maybe it plays out really well, maybe it doesn't, but don't know until you try. But yeah, July 9th is the expected debut for Ache. He's going to take a couple weeks off for vacation for some personal time. I think he's earned it at this point. But he's skipping Nations League with the Mexican national team to come and start training with Houston after that 2 weeks is up, which that'll put him, you know, roughly third week, fourth week of June, which means right towards the end of June, and gives him a week or two with the club before he debuts. So, you know, that lines out about right. You know, if you think of it that way. And it's good to think that he's going to have time to train with the club and get to know the guys before he actually plays and debuts, because that just sets him up for success in that match. Which, hey, against Frisco, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, we got to beat those guys, man. It sucks. It sucks to lose to anybody, but it really sucks to lose to your in-state rivals the most, especially at home.
It sucked. Well, even more, it sucks to lose to them after you go up on them to begin with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were there in Frisco
and Austin.
Yep. Yeah.
Here,
and Austin
here.
Yeah.
And again, it's a back-to-back. It is Frisco here and then Austin away that Tuesday. So very quick turnaround on that one. So it will be interesting to see the line out we put out for the match, simply because you are talking 3 days rest. No, 2 days rest. Really 1 day rest, Monday, because Sunday is the game. So that would be Sunday's not the game. It's Saturdays, right? No, it is Sunday. It's a Sunday match, and then you have Monday travel day essentially, and then you play Tuesday midday in Austin. So 1 day of rest in there. That's rough, man. For any player, there's no recovery.
They play Saturday. They play Saturday the 9th at 7:30, and then they have Sunday and Monday off, and they play Tuesday the 12th at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
So
so
they have 2 days.
Sunday will be the recovery day.
Mm.
Monday will be, travel, and Monday probably won't be travel. Monday will be,
They
training.
could, yeah, they could travel on
prep, and
Tuesday.
they
It's
can
not a
travel.
long. That's the one good thing about, Dallas is coming to here. I don't know if Dallas is doing the same thing.
No, because
But
they could travel Friday and hang out Friday night here, and then
yeah.
be here,
So
Saturday.
so for us to play a home game and then an away game in Austin isn't that big a deal, but it's still like, for me, it's no big deal to go, because I don't have an obligation right now. But for most people, they've got day jobs. They basically, the game is at 8, so it's not going to be over with till 10, and we're not going to probably get into the bus until 11 because of all the bullshit that's going to be involved with that. So, and on the way back, we'll get back at like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
and then I got
I
got like another 45-minute drive home.
Yeah, Evil says it's a 2.5-hour drive in between Houston and Austin. That's true.
Well,
That's true if you're not hitting rush hour either out of Houston or into Austin. Rush hour, man, you're not going anywhere. I mean,
that's why we're leaving early that day. We're leaving at
1 o'clock.
I thought it was noon. Either way.
Yeah, still early enough. That either one is still. I mean, they were talking about trying to leave at 4, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? There's no way you leave at 4 and get to that match in time.
Nope.
So yeah, I was glad to see they changed that. If you are planning to go as part of a supporter group, you better get your ticket and then sign up for the buses because, man, they're going to go fast, just like they did for Frisco and Austin. The last time, it's not going to take long for those spots to go. No 6th Street partying this time.
No.
Last year the Surge got a we called it the Surge House in Austin, and we spent the weekend there. And we hit up Dirty Sixth one night, and I was the DD that night. And I have never understood what it meant to be corralling kindergartners until that night. It was fun, we shall say. I've also never had that many people ride in the front of my truck before. That was also interesting and fun. But hey, everybody made it home safely, thank God. The trip was a blast. But it's Austin is a different animal in terms of traveling there and playing there. And it'll be nice to think that we probably have Ache for that match. But again, if he debuts for Frisco, how many minutes is he going to play, knowing that we turn around and play Austin in 3 days?
Yeah. I mean, maybe half the game or 60 minutes. But like, is he going to start both games? Are people in Austin coming to see him specifically?
I think it would be absolutely perfect to have him not start the match in Austin and then come on at halftime or something. Just to stick it to the fans that think that they're going to go watch Ache in Austin. Like, oh, you thought you were getting to see our best player. Ha ha, you were wrong. Well, he's not a CCL player. He's a UCL player. Get it right. UEFA Champions League, not CONCACAF. UCL player. Yeah, he played in a couple of UCL matches, played the full 90 with both of those matches, but those weren't 3 days apart either. There was a little bit more time between those matches. So again, it's difficult, especially at that age, and 32 isn't too bad, but once you hit past 30, going 2 matches 3 days apart, playing box to box in the heat is a different animal completely. So now he is a CCL player. Touche. Well played. But here in the Houston Heat in July, even if it's an 8 p.m. that match on Saturday is probably a 7 or 7:30.
7:30. It's 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30 kickoff. And against Frisco, even 7:30 p.m. in Houston, in the humidity and the heat, that you might as well be playing in 90-degree weather. 90-degree temps, and then traveling to Austin, and it's not going to be a lot better in Austin for that match either. So, It should be a little cooler, thank God, because it is an 8 p.m. kickoff. But man, it's going to be, all of that combined is just a lot to ask a player who's just debuting to kind
Hmm.
of take all that on. So we'll have to see how much he actually plays in those 2 matches. But once those 2 matches are done with, I do fully expect he'll be starting every match. Again, we've talked about what we kind of expect from him and what we expect as part of him coming here. And the other thing, and I've talked about this before, is a player of that caliber, he's going to have some sway with other players that are considering a move to MLS. And, if we can find a way to make room, it may not be until the off season to bring in friends of Hector Herrera, but I don't think there's any reason to not think that we couldn't make a move in the off season once we've offloaded another couple of players, a couple of veterans that their contracts are expiring, and open up room for something like that. And yeah, they may be, veteran players, older players that are in situations or, that they're just trying to get out of. But, come here, play with Hector Herrera for a year or two, and, and then we'll evaluate where you're at. I have no problem with that. And I think that could be a great way to go into the offseason.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So we got about 10 minutes left. Is there anything, guys, in chat that you want us to talk about? George said his bold prediction for the Ache's first MLS match is Memo is going to have a great game. He comes off the bench for Ache to a standing ovation. That's not actually for him, but he thinks it is. That was pretty great. Yeah, so... again, if you guys have any questions or any thoughts or other things that you want to put into chat, feel free. We got 10 minutes left. So this weekend is Charities Cup followed by, actually it's Saturday is Charities Cup followed by, no, not Charities Cup followed by DynaDos followed by Charities Cup. Sunday is Dash. The Sunday are currently on an unbeaten streak. I don't know if people realize that. The longest of their Dash tenure, I think,
Yep.
3 matches, 2 matches now, whatever it is. I hope it's
Three
more.
matches.
I hope
Three
it's more
matches
than 2.
because
2 would be really sad.
It was 3 because they have a draw, a win, and a draw.
That's what it is. And then kind of off topic and a long way to go, but a long way off. But any World Cup predictions? I did want to talk about this. I'm glad you brought that up. World Cup predictions. Obviously, today there was a little bit of tweets, some social media talk, some controversy going around about Ecuador fielding a player
from Colombia
in their senior team and playing multiple matches with him. That is an interesting story and one worth following because we know FIFA has always tended to side on we don't really want to make sanctions against a team, but that's a pretty egregious. If it's true, it's a pretty egregious thing to happen, especially if that player is registered to play for Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he's a dual national, and it's a situation where the paperwork was submitted to FIFA, but they hadn't approved it yet, or they hadn't accepted the paperwork, then FIFA's got some explaining to do.
Right.
But otherwise,
FIFA always has some explaining to do.
You're not wrong. Most corrupt organization in the world? Not quite, but pretty close. With that said, though, let's look ahead to Qatar. Yes, it's Qatar, not Qatar. USA versus in the group now with, we know it's Wales, England, and Iran.
Yeah, I like Evil Dead's predictions. I agree with them or them.
I think we beat Wales. I think we lose to England, but it's like a goal, 1-0. And then I think we beat Iran as well, and I think that's enough to keep us in second place in the group because Wales is not beating England. They can beat Iran as well, but if we draw to Wales, then I think that or if we beat Wales, it'll be sufficient.
Yeah.
USA makes the quarterfinal round. Ooh, that's a prediction and a half. I don't know if I agree with that. I realize we've kept 2 clean sheets, but I think that's a bit of a farce if you look at the actual defense and how lucky we've been. The strikers for other teams and wingers for other teams and midfielders for other teams have been off, not shooting as well as they normally would. And I think our midfield is just not holding their own as much as we would expect. Hallelujah, Weston McKennie is back. I hope that he continues to get back to full 100%. You can tell he's probably 85-90% out there.
Jedi will be back by then. Also,
thankfully, yes, as well. But there's still some things to figure out and some positions that need to be figured out. I'm really.
There's no telling who we might lose before then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, injuries are a thing that you got to deal with, and who do
you have as the number one? Do you have goalkeeper? Do you have Matt Turner? Or do you have Sean Johnson?
I've got Matt Turner. I don't think I have a question on that, to be honest with you. I don't think, for me personally, Sean Johnson is a better goalkeeper than Turner is, and I think Turner earned it in those 2 matches before he became unavailable.
Gotcha. I don't disagree with you. I was just kind of wondering your thoughts.
Yeah, that's one that I'm pretty solid on too. Is I like Matt Turner a lot better than Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson has made some boneheaded plays before, so.
But I don't think the drop off is as big as it is with Steve Clark and Michael Nelson.
Okay, you're talking MLS to basically, MLS Next Pro level at this point. That's not a knock on Nelson. It just is what it is.
I think Xavier Valdez is better than Michael Nelson, but he's younger, so he's not getting. I don't think he's getting that look quite yet.
Really bold prediction from Georgie. Canada wins Group F.
Is Tyler Pastor going to make the squad?
That's money, y'all.
I don't know. That would be great if Pastor makes a squad and goes to the World Cup and gets them the win in that group. I'm not sure who else is. I don't remember that group. Who else is in that group with Canada?
Yeah, George. Who's in that? I don't remember off the top of my head, but there were some.
Yeah.
And I can't pull it up because it'll mess up OBS. But there were some. There was the first couple of teams that they drew were pretty weak, but that third team, I don't remember who it was. That was a pretty strong team, man. Canada could feasibly win it, but that third team was pretty tough.
This World Cup's going to be fun. It's going to be the last one at this format. They're going to add a shit ton more teams in 2026.
Which Belgium was the top team in that
Belgium.
Group. Oh, and then Croatia. We acting like Croatia can't come in there. I mean, that's a tough group actually.
Belgium and Croatia, and then
Morocco, who we just drew with.
Morocco.
Or no, we beat them 3-0.
We beat Morocco. Yeah, we beat Morocco.
And Canada's better than the U.S. right now, so they could certainly beat Morocco as well. But man, Croatia, look, people act like Croatia are pushovers, but the last few World Cups and cycles, man, they've been really, really good. Yeah, Croatia usually punches up for whatever it is. Georgie, Evil Death says, Pasher for MVP or Ballon d'Or. Sorry for misspelling. I don't know about that. That is a bit much. Considering the popularity of certain players and knowing full well that MVP is going to be a popularity contest, and I don't even think they do MVP. They do Golden Boot and Golden Gloves, as it were. But with that said, we've got like 3 minutes left. We're kind of nailing down to that last little trickle bit here. 2 minutes now. Rob,
shake it out, Sean. Shake it out.
Rob, well played. Rob, would you like to plug your show? Well, you have a chance.
Yeah, I apologize. I jumped right into plugging myself at the very, very beginning. But for those that weren't here, my name is Robb Zipp. I host a heavy metal travel show called The Most Epic Adventures. But it's not. You don't have to like metal to like the show. I do interview metal bands every Monday night on my YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So give me a follow. It's just YouTube. Here, I'm going to put it in the chat.
Sure.
I'm going to put it right here. I know most of you already know me and you're already subscribed, but there's my YouTube. And if you prefer Twitch, I basically
you may have to send it to me because it shows up as asterisks for everybody else.
Oh,
I have filtering set up on Twitch.
Okay. Your message was not sent because it's identical to the previous message you sent less than 30 seconds ago. Well, it's not. Okay, let's see if I do it like this.
I got your Twitter on there.
Yeah, there you go.
I got that. No dirty links.
No dirty links.
He's actually sending a Rickroll, and I've got Rickroll's auto turned off. Nobody can Rickroll but me.
It's Twitch and it's my name on Twitch and on YouTube. It's my name. So my Twitter is not my name. Someone else. I deleted. Oh my God! I deleted my Twitter. I deleted my personal Twitter, and someone went in and sniped it.
Oh.
And they're just sitting on it. They're not doing anything. They're not following anybody. They don't have any followers. They just get it. They just got it, so I couldn't have it. So, anyway, but yeah, I travel around as much as I can. Like I said, I interview metal bands almost every Monday night, different genres all over the world. This Monday, I have Nailbite. They're a metal band from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They're all teenagers, but they're playing some big festivals coming up, and they have a big sponsorship. So they're really on the upward trajectory, Cool kids, as we say, cool kids. And then, most of I basically vlog everything I do. I'm a vlogger. So one of the things I do is I go to Dynamo and Dash matches. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm a member of the Surge. So I like to bring you along with me on my adventures, whether that be a soccer game, a museum, a theme park, or whatever. So, some vloggers, they'll record their whole face the whole time. I basically introduce you to what's going on, and then I turn the camera around and make you feel like you're with me. The times I do show my face more is if I'm making a foodie video, or there's a foodie section of the video where I'm showing you what I'm eating and explaining to you what I'm eating. So it's a real vicarious kind of situation I bring up my viewers through. So,
and I'll throw this out there. He mentioned he goes to water parks. If you're interested in seeing Robb Zipp in a Speedo, subscribe to Robb Zipp's channel right away and offer a donation of $50 or greater. And I guarantee you he will walk around in a Speedo just for you. He's also, I understand you're starting an OnlyFans. Of just kidding.
Starting.
Oh, no. And with that, everybody, thanks for joining. It's been a wonderful show. You've been in a wonderful audience. No, seriously. Thanks for joining. We do appreciate it, guys. Have a wonderful week. Have an awesome week, an epic awesome week, as it were. And you know what? We'll see you next week. Me and Mark. Mark should be back. And Rob, again, thanks for joining. We appreciate it. Guys, till next week, hold it down.
Hold it down.